Hi, I'm Celeste and welcome to Find Your Purple. It's day 3 of SSS VEDA, video every day for the month of April. And my subject is your perspective. I don't know about you, but throughout my life, I've been on different sides of the fences at different times. And it's like when I was in high school, I remember I had a teacher, Andy Sakali, and at the time, you think he's old, and I remember he was newly married, and I'm sure now, looking back, he was probably in his early 20s. I remember at that time when I joined GTE, a company I worked with for 20 plus years, and they were having people take early retirement. I remember thinking they were so old and they needed to go, and it was time for them to move on. But as you get older and you're in your 50s and 60s, you see how that's different when you're leaving. When you're in your 20s, 50 and 60 seems old. When you're in your 60s, 50 seems young. It's just all about your perspective. When I was a meat eater, I thought vegans were picky, and when they go to someone's house and didn't want to eat something, I thought they were making a big deal over nothing. Now that I'm a vegan, I try not to make a big deal out of it. I try to make it as easy on everybody as possible, but I can now understand why someone didn't want to eat meat just because that's the only thing that was being served. I haven't had meat, chicken, and fish in 2 years, and it'll be 2 years in August. And if I'm going to break it, which I may eat it again at some point, I want to make sure I'm doing it because I want to do it, not because someone's wanting me to do it so I'm not rude. When I was in the corporate world, I couldn't understand why they had so many activities in the daytime because I thought, well, doesn't everybody work? Now that I work a more flexible schedule, I want things in the daytime so that I don't have to do them in the evening. My perspective flipped. When I had young kids, I wanted things one way. When I didn't have kids, I want things another way. Well, so everything is about perspective. Being a Christian, it's the same thing. When I was what I guess now would be called New Age, I considered myself spiritual, not religious. I steered clear of anything that I felt was religious. I did not like to be approached by anyone who wanted to talk about religion. I felt when someone said they were a born-again Christian, I felt they were insincere usually. I felt they were many times self-righteous, judgmental, all of that. Now that I am a born-again Christian, I still find that there are a lot of judgmental Christians, the people that call themselves Christians. I think generally, if you're a true Christian, then you're not going to be a lot of the negative things that people associate with Christians. So, but there are a lot of people calling themselves Christians that aren't really walking the walk. But it is interesting how my perspective changed. Before, I used to think reading the Bible, it was irrelevant. I didn't respect people that did it. I was turned off if people talked about the fact they read the Bible every day. I basically would have thought you're one of those, which is a term my daughter used this weekend. She said, don't become one of those. And she was meaning, don't become one of those self-righteous, judgmental Christians that she has seen and that I'd always not wanted to be growing up. And now, again, I've changed on them. I've done a 180 in the sense of my beliefs. So life is about perspectives. When you're rich, you probably think certain things about the poor. When you're poor, you think certain things about the rich. It's just sometimes you need to put yourself in the other person's shoes. Be careful that you don't forget it is your perspective and the other person's coming from a different perspective. Food's a perfect example. In some places, eating fried crickets is a delicacy. To me, it grosses me out. So it's just all about perspective. So think about your perspective sometimes and how you approach things. If you're working with other people, respect their perspectives and try to get in their shoes. Sometimes be a little more understanding and be able to relate. So that's it for the day. As always, grab your cup of tea, sit back, and let's start sharing. Until tomorrow, bye-bye.